Welcome back to ARC Tutorials. This is Testing Concept Series. In today's episode, we are going to learn about usability testing. What is usability testing? What are some of the tools that we use for usability testing? What are the advantages? And finally, what are the disadvantages? These concepts are equally important for both QA as well as for developers and also for folks who are trying to progress their career into the next level. Let's get started with the series. This is the part 12 of the series. Please make sure that you have gone through all the previous episodes where we have covered a lot of concepts already. That will help you in continuity of your learning. Today we are learning about usability testing. So the basics first. What is usability testing? Usability testing is a type of software testing that is used to evaluate the user friendliness and ease of using a software application or system. In simple terms, think of it that way. Is your software user friendly? Is your software easily explainable in simple terms to user without much help of any documentation or training? Is most of the tasks that your application is performing, are they self-explanatory? All those feedback is captured via usability testing. Usability testing is often conducted with real business users. Those business users conduct and perform the tasks on a day-to-day basis. So they are in a much better position to provide the feedback. They are able to identify any requirement gaps or also provide the actual use cases. To perform usability testing, testers will use specialized software tools and techniques to collect data on the user experience. This particular testing takes a lot of time because it works with real-time users, and hence there are the number of errors to make and overall satisfaction of the software increases because the actual users spend a lot of time in providing the feedback and the requirements. Usability testing is an extremely important part of the development process as it ensures the software is easy to use and intuitive for users. So what are some of the common use cases? There are different many use cases for usability testing, some of which are evaluating the user friendliness of a new software application system. Is your software identifying and diagnosing usability issues with existing system? If you're trying to rebuild an existing application, chances are that you might miss some requirements in the gap or user friendliness. Measuring the effectiveness of usability improvements. For example, how many people are actually converting as a user? How many people have clicked on a add to cart? How many people have actually purchased certain products? All these things can be captured via usability testing. Now, usability testing also is important because we work with different user interfaces such as mobile, desktop, web, etc. When working with a large enterprise, you might want to work with different languages based on different geographies, and hence usability testing becomes even more important, especially when working with localization aspects. So what are the different tools that are employed for usability testing? Some of the tools that are employed for usability testing are user surveys. These are the fastest way to collect feedback from users on a certain experience. There is also user interviews, which are one-on-one personal interviews with the business users in which they are describing their experience with the software, how easy it was, how difficult certain pieces were, etc. We also get to know with user testing. This is one of the most critical features of usability testing. User testing involves recruiting people who have similar background or similar or they are your user base, and then we ask them to provide their insights into what they found easy, what they found difficult, were they able to locate certain data that they were looking for, and such like that. Then there is heat maps. Okay, heat maps are nothing but visual representation of where users are clicking or tapping on the software. Now this is extremely important because when you talk about click rate performance, that's where heat maps come into picture, identifying the areas which are being used most frequently and areas which user are unable or finding it difficult to identify. There's also clickstream analysis. This involves collecting data on the sequence of actions that users are taking while using the software. Clickstream is extremely popular nowadays because it provides insights into users' thought process and decision making. For example, if they are given a choice where they have to click on yes, apply my coupon code, are they able to apply that coupons? Are they able to pursue that saving option or not? All these can be captured easily using clickstream analysis. A more civilized, more better option is eye tracking. Now this involves specialized software and hardware as well, because here we are trying to track the user's eyes as they interact with the software. Now not all softwares will require eye tracking, but there are specialized VR tools that are used for eye tracking purpose. Let's talk about some of the usability testing advantages. There are several advantages to usability testing. For one, it will definitely improve the user experience of the application or the system. Second, enhanced usability. That means the whole point and the whole point of the exercise of usability testing is to identify areas where we can improve the user experience, user engagement, and drive more business. Increased efficiency. When you provide users with certain better aspects of experience and functionality, they're able to do their job more quickly and able to perform their tasks more efficiently. In turn, it turns out that it will help us save time, resources, and also bring in more revenue or users. Better user acceptance. A software is more likely to be used throughout your business if the business finds it easy to use and easy to adapt. A lot of times, a lot of business hesitates in adapting certain new applications because it's not easy to switch from one existing system to another. That's where usability testing really plays into picture because it helps us in adopting new paradigm of the software. Also, reduce cost and risks. By identifying and addressing issues early on, we are able to avoid the cost and risk associated with certain application problems. Alright, now that we talked about usability, now we know its importance, we know its tools, we know its advantages. There are certain disadvantages that comes with usability testing. For one, it is high cost and resource requirements. We have to work with real time resource intensive process with actual real businesses in getting their time and feedback, which is really costly in terms of time, resources, and engagement. Very difficult to recruit users. We talked about user testing, we talked about eye tracking, we talked about user interviews. All these will require people, and it's getting difficult to recruit people if we are trying to build a public facing application. If not, we need to get a buy-in from the business teams, which again requires their time and resource and etc. Limited scope. Usability testing is typically focused on the user friendliness and ease of use of the software, which means other areas of other areas where, for example, performance, security, compliance, all this can be overlooked easily when we are only dedicated with usability testing. Sometimes usability testing is influenced by people, right? Let's say, for example, if you are working with 10 people, if 8 people tell that the software is easy, doesn't mean that it's applicable to rest of the folks, right? Since you're working with a limited audience, the results can sometimes be inaccurate and inconsistent. Now, limited value in some cases. Now, like I said, this particular use case has to be measured thoroughly. If you're building a application which is public facing, huge, large, affects the business, drives revenue, you might want to go with usability testing. If not, if a project is relatively smaller and lesser use cases, you might want to skip usability testing as it has limited value in that particular case. So we need to make that informed decision about where to use usability testing and where not to. Alright, that brings us to the end of the concept for usability testing. I hope the concept is clear. I hope now you're familiar with some of the tools and its advantages and disadvantages. We'll continue this series. In the next episode, we will learn about compatibility testing, and stay tuned for that. If you like my work and tutorials, please do consider buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/rtutorials. Thank you so much in advance. See you in the next episode.